Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome back to the Better Man podcast. Today we continue our Reclaiming Your Fitness series, and I've got Steve G here from Baltimore to talk about his story with getting back into fitness. So, Steve, thanks for being here.
Oh, pleasure.
Yeah. So, how long have you been doing manful yoga for?
Oh, I started, I think February of 2023, probably.
Okay. And what caused you to go looking for something like that?
Well, I've never done yoga, except for, maybe occasionally here and there. I was never avoiding yoga. I just never kind of found time to make it part of my life or
Mhm.
a particular reason to. And I developed a really bad problem with the cervical nerve, cervical radiculopathy. It's
Okay.
C8. And it was really oppressively bad. And as part of the evaluation for that, I just had plain x-rays of my cervical spine, which to my great surprise showed pretty advanced osteoarthritis um, in my C-spine, um, which I've had no symptoms from, and was very worrisome to me because I guess I was 65 at the time, and I'm thinking, wow, this is like the beginning of the end,
Mm.
I'm a physician, and that just didn't sound good to me. So I went to my massage therapist, who happens to be a yoga instructor, although that's not his full time gig anymore. But he's a pretty big hatha yoga guy,
Mhm.
and I asked him what he thought about was it reasonable for me to consider yoga as a you know adjunct, and he said, oh, absolutely, you should be doing that.
Mhm.
So I was looking around for kind of beginners yoga programs in my neighborhood, and there just wasn't really anything that was um, easy, or made sense time wise. And
Yeah.
so I did what anyone does and goes to the internet, and then of course things start popping up in my Facebook feed, including this Dean Pullman guy with his Strength Foundations challenge thing,
Mhm.
and that was very appealing to me because I'm a been involved with weightlifting for quite a long time, and so just the idea that I could do it at home and there was a program to follow uh,
Mhm.
seemed like it was worth a try, and so I signed up for that, and I was like immediately hooked. So there you go.
Okay. Cool. So immediately hooked. All right. So and that's a challenging program, by the way. It's not an easy program. I was actually just talking with a guy who, and he was only 49 when he started the program. He's like, yeah, it was way too hard for me. So, you go into that program at 65 or 66 and being able to do it consistently is definitely a testament to your previous fitness level. So, well done, first off.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I was
What do you
very
what do you think?
persistent. I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. So, and what do you think enabled you to be consistent?
Um, well, I I don't have problems following a fitness program, so that's
Hmm.
so as long as I can schedule it. That's something that's been important to me at least since my early 40s,
Mm.
and so that was no surprise. Again, having the program with kind of expectations for how much per week and what we're going to do this week versus next week, that was very helpful to me. It's
Okay.
like like it's like having a trainer, right, telling you what to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it is having a trainer, really. Um,
Yeah.
and so, and then the question was, do you repeat the same thing twice, or do you go to the intermediate level? Well, damn, if I was going to do the same thing twice. Excuse me, I got sweating because it was hot outside. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Okay. So you never had issues with being consistent. So that wasn't an issue for you. So, and you talked about your kind of your health scare with the cervicular radiculopathy. You talked about that being kind of a big motivating factor. Do you think that, how motivational was that in this, and take me through that experience of, oh shit.
Well, here I am, doing physical therapy, like in a lot of realized in a lot of pain and having trouble
Hmm.
sleeping. There was very few positions that were reasonable, that were possible. I
Hmm.
ended up getting on some medication that really helped. Fortunately, I responded to immediately pain wise, so I was able to get the pain under control. That's kind of when I think started doing yoga. It's like, no, okay, now I've got the pain managed.
Hmm.
Um, and I went back to my massage therapist like 2 months later, and he was just astonished because like I've had some like really chronic knots that
Hmm.
he's worked at. I mean, I don't go that often, but like they've never gone away, and like everything was like just totally open. I mean, there was like no bad
Wow.
stuff there. So, and he's like I said, he's a yogi. He's very much a believer, but he was astonished because he's known me now, for 4 years or whatever, and he's and maybe 3 or 4 massages a year. Never seen me like that.
Wow.
So that was very encouraging.
Yeah.
And then I started. I can't get everything, Dean, exactly into sort of the exact time frame.
Well, you don't have this all written down somewhere? Come on.
I don't, because I don't
Totally,
journal. We
totally
should talk
joking.
about that. I don't journal, but
You should journal about why you don't journal. That'll solve the problem.
um, I found that it was really helping my work in the weight room
Yeah.
also. So the
By the
muscle.
way, the numbers that you're putting up in the weight room are very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember
yeah.
you
So
posting some of your weights. I was like, wait, really? That's a lot.
it's funny because a son-in-law of one of our family friends works out in the gym that I work out, and he's usually there a half hour before. And we were both deadlifting the other day, and he stopped and he says, "What are you lifting there?" And it was 321, and
Mhm.
it's just what I was doing. But
Yeah.
he's 35 years old or something. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, but for sure, the yoga has helped me. I work with a trainer, and a couple times I've also had lumbar radiculopathy after
Mm.
the cervical thing, and both times were maybe related to doing something, doing a not great deadlift. I'm not really sure. I felt like my it was like my focus, my being one piece machine, if you understand what I'm saying. If I
Mhm.
let that sort of engagement go, so then I
Yeah.
felt like my back say, oops. And it wasn't like a painful thing, but then the next day, this happened twice. The next day, I developed this other thing. So the
Yes.
bottom line, it's a long way of getting around saying, my muscular awareness now is so much better. And
Mhm.
again, just going back to deadlifts, I really understand how to engage and how to you and I have talked about this once before, how to really push into the floor
Mhm.
through my feet, like
Yeah.
people who don't, it's not always so easy to explain, but I mean to feel like I'm a unit, I'm pushing down, my body's lever is working, and I'm not afraid
Yeah.
because I'm all connected. um, the other thing was, the other day, a few weeks ago, I was doing body saws on
Okay.
gliders, and my trainer saw me from across the room. He said, that my butt was too up and blah blah blah. And that's it's not so easy to gauge. I think whether your spine is neutral for me anyway,
Yeah.
in a plank position. Um, and he cued me about engaging my core and my glutes at the same time.
Mhm.
And again, well, that was really familiar because from all the work I've done in Manflow Yoga, and immediately that corrected it, and now I've
Mhm.
got that down. So
Nice.
yeah, so I don't
So it
know,
sounds like the body awareness and the muscle awareness is a huge factor in this
huge.
improvement.
But I think I'm also stronger. I mean, I think I do think that my strength, and I can't quantify that obviously, right? But
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe you can in terms of like a 1 to 10, this is how I feel scale. That's
yeah,
what
I
I like
just
to
I, I just feel I feel stronger. And again, I can't know how much of that is just weightlifting and how much of that is yoga, and definitely
Hmm.
flexibility as well. I mean, I'm the kind of guy whose hamstrings were like terrible, like the bend and
Hmm.
reach thing, total fail, you know,
Yeah.
any of that stuff. And I haven't done a bend and reach thing, but
Hmm.
I know that, in pyramid and other postures, uh, half splits, I'm doing stuff with my hamstrings that in my life I've never been able to do, you
Hmm.
know, pigeon lizard. I
Hmm.
could never do that stuff with my hamstrings uh,
Yeah.
anytime in my life, as far as I know.
Yeah. Well, you weren't doing any. I mean, it sounds like correct me if I'm wrong. So you've been lifting pretty consistently for the last how many years, and have you done it, every week? Have you had periods where you don't do it for a few months, or like what's that been?
It's been up and down, but I'd say since like 2013, except for the beginning of COVID, I've been in the gym, usually with a trainer, um, regularly,
Hmm.
um, pretty much most of that time.
Okay. And is that that's when you started weightlifting? Did you do weightlifting before that?
No, I started probably when I was about 40.
Okay.
But there were years I did and years I didn't. And it was never, you know, I did everything the wrong way. It's like, read Men's Health magazine, figure out what to do. I was very much kind of an independent guy. Like, I'm not going to like look for
Yeah.
help and all this really stupid stuff that men, well, that I do. Let's just say I'm not going to generalize for men, but
That's
you
okay.
know,
You can do it for a lot of men.
yeah. So like for example, I remember some years ago, I was bench pressing on a Smith machine, and it was pretty easy. So, well, I can move over to a barbell, and so I just transferred the same weight.
Mm.
Oops, that was really a bad move. You know?
I've been in that position at least a couple times where I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
we're gonna somehow roll this off of me.
exactly.
Um, yeah, I've spent most of my shoulder recovery for the last 10 years has just been focused on undoing the damage I did to my shoulder while bench pressing. Just I was just obsessed with my pecs when I was younger. I just wanted to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did bench press like 3 times a week. And yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do bench press anything close to what I was doing when I was younger, but
Right. But then
yeah, it's all
lacrosse
much
is
more
not
focused on
easy on your shoulder either, right?
the what?
Lacrosse is
Yeah, lacrosse is not either. I mean it was yeah, I don't know. It could have been better. I think not, a lot of what I know now versus what I did not know as a college athlete, particularly with strengthening the muscles around the shoulder blades and with doing way more pulling exercises. Yeah, I wish I had paid attention to that a lot more. But at the same time, I wouldn't know all of what I know now if I didn't have to figure out, oh, what's wrong with myself? Let me figure it out because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have had the motivation to figure that out. So
right.
most of what I figured out with Manful Yoga is a result of me figuring out my own problems and then being able to say, hey, I figured it out. Other inflexible men who don't want to do yoga, I can help you.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
okay.
I think
So,
it's great. I recommend it to people all the time now.
yeah, I appreciate that. You're a wonderfully vocal proponent, and I do really appreciate that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, my dad's actually my dad is also you're 67 now.
60. I'll be 67 next month. Yeah.
67 next month. Okay. My dad just retired. He's 65, 65, maybe 66. God, I
Uh-huh.
don't know. But he's also a physician. He is an oncologist.
Right. And
So
yeah.
yeah, he's we're talking about his fitness journey now and him, he's like, I'm going to start lifting weights. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll be watching.
It's
So
good.
yeah. But so what did you what other results did you well actually I want to go back to like the difference between manful yoga and weightlifting versus just doing weightlifting, and I'm just curious, what other things did you notice? um did you have the same kind of soreness that you had before? Do you notice other improvements? Are there, what's been that experience?
I don't have a lot of soreness. I don't have a lot of soreness.
Hmm.
And now I just don't. I mean, if I'm pushing weights, or like we're going from changing the routine in terms of volume versus weight or something, I might, when we switch up, obviously I may feel, I was like, oh, I must have been doing something with my pecs or my lats,
Hmm.
something, that kind of soreness, like
Yeah.
good soreness, like, oh, I
Hmm.
did something. So I'll have that, but I really don't have pain. And similarly, a lot of times on the Manflow Yoga workouts, where in your pattern you say, oh, you're really going to feel this like the next day in your whatever's. Uh, I just don't. Um, and
Yeah, I always get offended by your comments 'cause I'm like, it wasn't challenging enough. It wasn't sore. No, I'm only partially joking, but
It's plenty
yeah,
challenging, but I'm not. I don't get the soreness thing. I'm happy about that. Uh,
yeah,
and I think that's because I mean I really do, Dean, think that your your explanation of technique, especially now that I've been at it for a while and I really understand your language a lot better than I did at first. I have to admit that when I was
hmm,
doing the first time I went through Strength Foundations Challenge, some of the things about pulling your ribs in versus some of the things about external versus internal, uh,
yeah,
I was not always clear about, and sometimes I'd post to the Facebook page, and Richard or somebody would you know
hmm,
help, which was always good. But I think something has to click at some level
yeah,
where you hear it and you feel it and you say, "Oh, I understand that now," right?
hmm,
So I think that just took me time a little bit, and I don't think it's anything with your instruction, because now I find your instructions like so helpful,
mm,
your cues, and I think that keeps me out of trouble.
yeah, yeah. So just because you're doing the technique properly, you're not
I
getting
think
that
so. Anyway,
excessive
right,
soreness of you
right,
did something wrong.
right.
Cool.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I've been doing beyond the flexibility beyond thing, and those holds are they're long, dude. I mean,
They're a long time. Yeah,
they're long, and
yeah. I think I remember recording those and looking over the timer like, "Oh, okay, another minute. Okay. All right."
you just keep talking.
Yeah, I gotta keep talking. I gotta keep talking through it. You guys would not if I stopped talking and
Oh,
just,
that would
like,
be bad.
stared ahead, people would just tune out. They'd be like, "What am I doing here again? Ugh, don't I have something else to do?" No, yeah,
I've gotten
it's
to really like it, honestly, as much as I kind of don't like it, but I mostly do like it because I find, I'm in my third cycle now, and so it's familiar. But it's a really good headspace, I think. Like, okay, I'm going to be in this lunge for 5 minutes, and I know at some point we're going to like do this isometric thing or that isometric thing. So I'm kind of okay, like expecting that,
mhm,
but there is this kind of really open Zen thing about it,
mhm,
mindfulness, whatever it may be. So I'm
yeah,
really digging that. I mean, I really feel like I'm come out feeling like I've been present. I've just been really
mhm.
present. I
That's
don't know.
awesome. So
Yeah.
it sounds like repeating the workouts is helpful from you in the sense that you know what's coming now? Is that
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I'd say overall, that's always true. For this particular one, it's been very helpful, especially because there was something first time through. It's like there's something like that unknown about what's 5 minutes like this going to be. You and I chatted online about the horse pose for 2.5
mhm,
minutes, and it's
yeah,
like, and I can squat pretty well in that haka position. I don't have any limitations
yeah,
flexibility wise, but the first time through, I was like, oh my god, I mean, this is just so hard, just holding it there. But
yeah,
now it's like I know it's going to be okay, and I move, and it's going to be fine. So just having gone through it, um, there's just not that anxiety about is this
mhm,
going to be terrible.
yeah. So you mentioned being able to feel more present when you're doing the workouts, or kind
Yeah,
of
definitely.
afterwards feeling more presence. What are some other things that you notice just in terms of improvements in day-to-day life as a result of, being consistent with this?
Well, I have a, I definitely get an endorphin rush after a lot of the workouts, sort of the yoga workouts. I
Hmm.
really, I tend to work out, do my yoga in the morning. And when I'm in the gym, I do the gym like super early, like 6:30. Well, that's super
Hmm.
early for me. And then I'll try to fit in yoga usually later in the morning if I have a break in work. Sometimes it's
Okay.
later, but and then on other days, like sometimes I do boot camp at gym, which is like at noon. So then I'll do yoga earlier in the morning
Okay.
before work. So especially on those days, I do feel just really endorphinized, focused, ready to go.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, Dean. It's like I feel like I'm going to get like corny and verklempt, like emotional. There's something really good, just
Hmm.
good together, ready, um, composed, in myself. This is all kind
Yeah.
of sounds
It's
stupid, but
No, it's kind of this sense of like, I like to describe it as like this, it's this sense of energetic, focused calm. It's
yeah,
like all of those things, it's
I
like
haven't really
this,
thought about it till just now. Like I said, I was getting kind of emotional about it because it feels very powerful to talk about.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's yeah, feeling, I don't know, I guess I can only explain my own experience. And that's kind of, there's been a couple of series that I've created based on, okay, I know that when I do poses in this particular sequence and in emphasizing these aspects of the poses, that I finish feeling the way that you're talking about. Like, you feel more focused in what you're doing, like more present, more able to focus on what you're doing. You are present in the sense that you're looking at what's in front of you instead of worrying about, oh, there's like other things that I have to do, or oh, there's this thing that I haven't done that I'm worried about, or you know yeah, it can create this total different way of experiencing life in a way.
I agree. Again, I can't articulate it that well, but that is exactly how it kind of feels. And I guess I hadn't really thought about that, but um, it's interesting because I haven't really, except for a few days here and there. I mean, I've been like pretty consistent for the last year and a half or however long it's been, and so I can't. It's like I haven't done the experiment where you don't do it.
Mm,
I mean, I don't have any interest in doing that either. Uh, you know,
yeah.
to see how different it is when you're not doing it.
Yeah, and I think you already answered this, but I think one thing that I really find cool. So I went back and I created this whole accountability and strategies piece of content based on, and
Right.
I wanted to get feedback from the members to make it, instead of just like, hey, here are some here are some theoretical strategies that work based on, you know, the exercise world. I went and I just asked people like, hey, what enables you to be consistent? And one of those answers was, I know how I'm going to feel when I finish. And so it's
Absolutely.
that feeling, that it's the anticipation of, oh, I'm going to feel so much better when I do it, that encourages you to do it, rather than like, oh, I know that like in 6 months, I'm going to be able to straighten my legs in pyramid
Yeah,
pose. And it's
no, I
just
think
like,
that's a
I
really
feel
good
better
point.
immediately.
But it's not just how I'm going to feel afterwards. I feel great doing it, right? Even through some of the really hard poses, and more challenging balance things, which is
Hmm.
a challenge for me. But I feel good doing it. It's like I like it
Yeah.
off the mat. I feel like okay, uh, let's get through
Yeah.
Team Spiel and get moving.
Yeah. And then, not that one is better, not that one or the other is better, because I'm a big weightlifting fan. But what's the difference you notice between weightlifting and doing manful yoga?
Oh, I mean they're just really different. Um,
Hmm.
I can't even compare it. I mean, they're just different. I do feel like with weightlifting, it's forward focused in a different way. It's right, like what progress am I going to see? what's that going to mean? And I'm not going for any particular goals, honestly.
Hmm.
I'm at a certain age, and I just want to be fit and healthy and all around for my grandkids and stuff, and
Hmm.
feel, be mobile and stuff. So, but I want to
How
see
old are your kids?
my grandkids or
Yes.
kids. My
Uh-huh.
grandkids are 5 and 3, 5.5 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Um, so anyway, so it feels good to lift weights. It definitely
Hmm.
does, right? And you get the kind of pump and you feel good, but it's not the same. It's not the same zen-y,
Yeah. Yeah.
unified thing. It's just different.
Yeah. Cool. All
Yeah,
right. No right or wrong answer. I just wanted to ask.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm just trying to.
yeah. So, one other question I have. So, I know you do a group workout class in the morning sometimes, and I don't know what other ways community has been helpful to you in your fitness journey. But can you talk about some of how you've integrated community and social structure into your overall health and wellness, and how that's been helpful?
Wow. Uh, so it's like super important. Um, I think that like some other people I know, early 40s was kind of a dark, would maybe not be the right word. Maybe that's too difficult a word, but I kind of stressful and maybe dark
Mhm.
time, some depression, and you're at
Yeah.
a career time when you got your kids, your marriage is all around the kids,
Mm.
right? And they're little and they're needy, and your work is you're at a certain level at your career, and
Hmm.
am I going to move this way or that way, and
Yeah.
all that, and um, you know, um, there isn't traditionally a lot of really healthy male social stuff. At least
Yeah.
it wasn't 20 years ago so much. So I think that was really missing for me, um, a lot. And anyway, I do small group training at the gym, um, and that's really to make the trainer affordable more than anything else. But there's like 6 of us, and everybody else is probably under 40.
Hmm.
Um, but we're just all friends, and it's encouraging and it's fun. And then I do boot camp, and again, there's a couple people in their 50s, but most people are 20s to 40s, and um, there's a esprit de corps. There's one guy. He's in his 40s. He's also has been a trainer. He's really fit, and you know, he likes to tease me or egg me on or sometimes correct me.
Hmm.
And it's really meant. I mean, I feel like it's meant in a very loving way, and I really appreciate it. So the camaraderie, the palling around, I don't know. It's very important to me. It's very positive.
Yeah. Cool.
So
So it's just that atmosphere of having people, having people there doing it with you.
having people doing it with you, sort of having some care about each other, right? Because you know each other.
Mm.
There is some thing like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the Manful Yoga community, I think has some of that both on the Facebook page and Engage. I think it's it's by definition not the same as in real life, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I do think that whole thing about sharing your experiences with certain programs and workouts, and and how people are doing, and it's good, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to know other people are doing it and sharing the same stuff.
Hmm.
To me, that's all good.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Fortunately, we don't have the Manful Yoga chapter set up in every major city in the U.S. yet. But if you're willing to head up the Baltimore one, let me know. And
Well, yeah, I just signed on for another 5 years before retirement, so not sure that's going to happen, Dean. But let me know if
oh
I do.
wow,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, dang, you're just gonna live forever then. That's cool. That's great. I'm happy for you. Um, so what's the next thing you want to work on in your fitness? Is there a goal that you're looking toward that you're like, this is what I want to do next? Or
Yeah, not really. I mean, things come up and they go. When I was up in working at Yale in Connecticut, there was a big fundraiser that was around cycling, and I like to cycle, and so I was training
Mhm.
for a century or 60 miler or whatever was
Okay.
a thing, right?
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing that in a structured way. Um, so I don't really have anything exactly like that in the books,
Hmm.
planning wise, but you know, I'm open for that. In the meantime, I just kind of plod along, and like I say, what's the next goal going to be? Bench press we were talking about, something I was never strong at because I was never working with anybody. I never had anybody spotting me on a regular basis. Blah blah blah. So for the first time
Hmm.
in my life, I'm benching in the 170 180 range, which it's not a lot for a young person, but it's more than I ever did. And um, so I really enjoy seeing that grow, and I don't have
Yeah.
a particular peak where it's going to be, but if I'm growing with it, it's just kind of, I see it as personal growth. It's just fun, you know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think as long, I mean, I think you have, just based on everything that we've discussed, it sounds like what you're doing sounds so sustainable just because you're enjoying the process. You don't, some people really do need, I want to know what I'm working on. I want to know what I'm working towards. I want to plan to get there or I'm not going to do it. And, I think you found a way that really works, which is I just enjoy what I'm doing. I like the people that I'm around when I do it. And I like the process of it.
And I like the way I feel.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's get into our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I have a feeling you're going to have to get some good ones. So so the first one is, what is the one habit, belief, or mindset that has helped you the most with your overall health and wellness?
Oh, that I can do this. Because I was kind of a fat, unathletic kid, and I grew up with the feeling that I couldn't.
Mm,
And so realizing that I'm an adult and I can take responsibility for myself, and get help, and I can ask for help. Right? I don't have to be
mhm,
that kid who was afraid to talk to the coach because he'd think I was stupid and fat and unathletic. Right?
mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of it. Like I can do this if I want to.
Got it. All right. Great answer. I'm writing that down for myself. Cool. What is one thing that you do for your health that is often overlooked or undervalued
Overlooked by other people or by myself or
by other people?
yeah, I do think the yoga thing, at least among the guys I know, I think for sure the yoga piece. And I again talking about the younger people I know in boot camp, and they've all done yoga, right? But
Hmm.
my trainer who's 34, I mean he's all about yoga. He's so glad that I do your warm ups before deadlifting or squatting. I always do 10 minute the center
I'm
of that one always.
I'm glad you do them too. Yeah, I you wouldn't believe how many people I speak with who are like, "Oh, I just go do it." I'm like, Why don't you warm up? Go get your glutes firing, bro."
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that, and they say, oh, yeah, that would be a good idea. Like this young guy is dealing with sciatica. He's a big guy. He's
Mm,
like a linebacker type, in his 30s. And I said, dude, just do this. Like you're going to feel better. So
yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that answer. Um, all right. Next
I'm not
question
being
is,
paid to do this, by the way.
no, you're getting paid nothing. I just want to clarify.
Right,
There's no
exactly. We have not rehearsed this.
yes. What is the most stressful part of your day to day life?
Okay. Well, the really good news, Dean, is that my life is much less stressful than it's ever been before because I work from home 4 days a week, 4 out of 5. I really, really dig my job these days. I took care of leukemia patients all my life. I stopped that 4 years ago. It was really highly spiritual, important work, and also really emotionally stressful, right? And I don't do
Yeah.
that anymore. And surprisingly, I don't miss it because I think I did enough. So my work is all about service to other people, and it feels very fulfilling. And between that and my fitness and my dog and my grandkids and my wife, life is pretty good. The worst stress is the commute back. I drive down to Rockville, Maryland, once a week for work, and so my wife works in the same place. And since the bridge came down in Baltimore, the commute back is just a nightmare.
Mm.
But
Okay.
yeah, life is pretty low stress these days. I'm really super grateful for that.
All right. Sounds good. And then my last question is, what is your best piece of advice for men who want to be healthier?
Yeah, just I mean, get a program, get a program uh, that you like and that's fun, that's interactive if possible. I think
Hmm.
whether it's Group X or whether it's something online. And I don't know. I've really benefited from having instruction, whether it's a trainer or your instruction. To me, feeling like you're not doing it alone, first of all, like that somebody else cares about you besides you, even if you're paying them to do it. I mean, it's like it's nice. It's nice to have somebody really engaged with you
Hmm.
in your journey. And whether that, I guess that could be a workout partner, I suppose, as well. But I think having that has been very helpful for me.
Yeah. So follow a program you like with people you like.
Yeah, like that.
Hmm. Cool. All right. Well, anything else you want to add?
No, I really I just love being part of this community, Dean. You and I have talked about that,
Hmm.
and I'm I've just gotten so much out of the program. It's really it's become such a positive habit. So I stumbled into it. Nobody had recommended it, and I'm just a huge supporter. So I'm really super grateful about that.
Yeah. And every time I talk with you, I feel like, oh, I really like this guy. I should talk to him more. So, um, yeah, I love it. I love all this. Yeah, and it's been great having you as part of the community and getting to see getting to see you sharing your experience with the workouts and hearing about how it's helping you. And yeah, I'm very happy that you're here. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And maybe next time I'll have lost 75 pounds too. I don't know.
75 pounds. Do you have 75 pounds to lose?
Oh, I don't know, but you had that recent podcast with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anthony, yep, yeah, he's got a great story. His is
Yeah,
cool. His is cool just because he lost it so quickly. He just like I just stopped eating like crap and I did my yoga in the morning and I went on lots of walks and I lost like I think he lost like 30 pounds in 1 month just doing
yeah.
that, something like that. Just
Well,
crazy. Hey,
we'll
yeah.
see. I'm practicing self love in the meantime. So
Hey, good. That's better than shaming yourself into working out. So
exactly.
good job. All right. Well, Steve, I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Guys listening in, I really hope you enjoyed this interview. I hope you got a lot of it. I hope it inspires you to be a better man. I'll see you guys on the next episode.